A popular scholar once said, "Is either you let the day, it's either you run the day or you let the day run through you." The bad news is time waits for nobody. It's a beautiful Monday morning, the start of a new week. Welcome to Waste Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? Today, we are going to be having a conversation around politics. With Breakfast is the place where we get to talk about everything ranging from politics, leadership, to trending issues, to tech and innovations, to mental health, physical health, and everything you can think and imagine. My name is Omotoshola Sharimaki, and with me are the ladies. Good morning to you, ladies. Welcome back from the weekend.
Good morning. Good
Good morning.
morning.
Your
How are you?
brightness is radiating. I
I
mean,
love
how
it.
are you ladies doing? How was your weekend? Let's start from God's beauty.
Hey. I mean,
How
my
was your
weekend was
weekend?
it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all left here quite early on Friday, so it made me rest a bit, right?
Mm.
Then on Saturday, I kind of like told like the people I work for beforehand that I'm not going to be sending you a script during the weekend because
Mm-hmm.
me, I want to rest. You understand? So they kind of understood, yeah. So there was nothing I was really doing on Saturday. I kind of rested properly. And that made me kind of have time for my mom because she was always complaining that I'm around but not around, that kind of thing, yeah.
Mm.
So on Sunday, I mean, it was exciting. I went out. It was
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
So the real I'm actually
The excitement is
yeah.
just all over you. I
That's nice.
mean,
It was okay because I mean it's something I don't get to do a lot of times. I'm always
mm,
too busy with work. So the fact that I took like some hours,
Mm,
outside like with people, it was exciting for me.
that's nice.
interesting.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Well done. I'm happy you enjoyed your weekend, which is
Yes.
how
Yeah,
it's meant to be.
yeah. My
How
weekend
about
was
you?
really chilled. It was
Ah,
amazing. I was
Hey,
all
hey.
jumpy.
ah.
But I couldn't model for that, my friend,
Oh,
because
wow.
I think she
Oh,
was really busy. But all is well. I really enjoyed my weekend.
love
It
it.
was.
I
How
guess
about you? Tell me.
I'll tell
Don't
you,
run
ladies did not
away.
ask. So my weekend was quite restful. I
Okay.
mean, I got home quite early. I don't know, the stress of always going down to my area is always like very tedious. But I got home immediately. It was as if everything was waiting for me. Oh, my gas has finished.
Oh
Oh, my
wow.
fan has spoiled.
Oh
Oh, I need to
wow.
fix the bulb. So I got home to start paying bills. I don't know if you understand. I
I feel
paid
you.
for
I
paid
feel
for
you. I
fuel,
feel
gas,
yeah, yeah.
went to filling station, paid for
Work
this,
on the
paid
bomb
for
as
that. It
well.
was a whole lot. Thereafter, I had a very restful weekend. I
Okay.
mean, my weekend was like one of the best ever. Just inside my house, food, drinks. Yes, I worked on Saturday morning, but it was quite rest. And then I came back with marks all over my hands to show that I've been really cooking.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I made a lot of meal
Sorry.
prep over the weekend. So I knew knife cut my hand like three different places,
Shoot.
but it was really
Sorry.
fun. I don't know.
My
I
God.
enjoyed the entire cooking
I mean,
Oh,
you
experience.
love cooking,
sorry.
so
Yeah, it
Sorry,
was
though.
really fun.
sorry.
So we're back from the weekend. I mean, if you're going to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button now, like and share the link to family and friends. Today we will be discussing public sector accountability in Nigeria, and we will be joined later by a guest to have this conversation. Right now, we will be going on a break. When we return, we'll be going straight to the headlines across the globe, where we get to bring to you the daily newspaper update. We'll be right back shortly. We're glad to have you back to the show. This is the West Breakfast hashtag. What are you saying? And now we are going to take a look at the news from the pages of today's newspaper. And today we have the Guardian newspaper, we have the Vanguard newspaper, and of course, the New York Times. I'll be starting the daily newspaper from the Guardian newspaper, rather, where the major headline reads, electricity tariff may spike over weak fiscal position, 2.1 trillion naira subsidy. Right under it, concerns as NERC removes federal government from commercial model and forces bilateral market. Liquidity worsens 4 years after CBN set up escrow account. Power plant may shut down as poor remittance threatens 6,000 megawatt target. And there's this analysis of the entire thing which says outstanding debt before Tinubu's regime was 3.3 trillion naira. Power sector debt to bank 1.9 billion. Subsidy in 2024 2.1 trillion. Unmetered customers 7.3 million. The current cost reflective tariff is 209 naira kilowatts. Average electricity by generation 4,500 megawatts. Discourse load takeoff 4,000 megawatts, ATC and C 36.36%. Away from that, probe 1.56 billion, 3 billion loans to state. Federal government Serap urges Tinubu. Still looking at the Guardian newspaper, police press courtesan cybercrime charges against protesters on Ondo Guba candidate. NDIC reimburses Heritage Bank customers with less than 5 million naira deposit. NLC demands apology from federal government. Police over raid on headquarters. Edo refinery decries NNPCL's failure to supply crude. Police protest arrest 99 suspects for murder vandalism in Borno State. Still on the metro scene, bandits kill soldiers. Invade villages, displace households in Sokoto. National Assembly pushes back on pay stub as Obi others flag cost of governance. Then finally on the Guardian newspaper, how Tinubu hurriedly terminated CBN special investigation. And I would let Somto take us to the pages of the Vanguard newspaper.
So we're looking at the Vanguard newspaper, and I'll begin with the major headline, End Blame Game, Halt Bad Policies, Labour, Obi, Luke Mantel, Tinubu. And just underneath that, we have Labour alleges harassment, intimidation of members by government, says invasion of Labour House, deliberate attempt at provocation, condemns plan to frame up innocent citizens on trumped-up charges, protests call for leadership action against growing poverty, hunger protests, enough grounds to impeach Tinubu. And just below that, we have this picture, and on it has Nigeria poorest Olympics outing, show of shame, 9 billion wasted, 88 athletes, no medal. Underneath that, we have 10 die in Abia truck accident, 25 missing in Sokoto boat mishap. By the side of this picture, we have monkeypox. FG directs travelers to Nigeria to fill health declaration form. Underneath that, we have an illustration. And just below that, we have Senate of Obasanjo, your claims that we fix our salaries, allowances uncharitable. Below that, we have this other picture that says Edo will be okay. And on this picture, we have Governor Olumide Akpata and Deputy Governor Yusuf Kadiri. And on top of the headline, we have financial banks credit to manufacturing sector up 53.7% in Q1 24. Beside that, we have Barbican Capital sues First Bank over alleged wrong shareholding data. So we'll be looking at the major headline because it really caught my attention, and it says that the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, yesterday asked President Bola Tinubu's administration to stop the blame game, reverse his policies that have caused hardship to Nigerians, and engage in meaningful dialogue with relevant stakeholders. Similarly, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party (LP) in the 2023 poll, Mr. Peter Obi, said the nationwide protests, which ended on Saturday, were a call on Nigerians leaders to reflect deeply on the growing poverty in the country and take steps to address it. Former National Vice Chairman Northwest of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), Salihu Lukman, spoke in the same vein, describing the nationwide protests against hunger and bad governance as sufficient grounds for impeachment of the president and some state governors. The NLC also alleged that since President Tinubu took over the reins of power, he had engaged in harassment and intimidation of labor leaders, adding that the recent invasion of his headquarters was to provoke the labor movements.
That's interesting because it feels as if only one person knows the truth and is saying it. But then life is more practical than theoretical. The fact that he's saying all of this doesn't mean if he emerged as the president of
He's
the
going to
country,
do better.
he's going to do better, I guess. So enough of people saying, oh, Peter Obi has nice plans. He has great plans for Nigeria. In fact, Tinubu was even copying some of his plans at some time. What if he emerged the president of the country? And I feel like there are more things on that seat, or maybe in that parliament, or maybe in that government. Yes, we have great plans, but when you get there, what you order will be different from what you got. Let's take a look at the New York Times.
All right, so a New York newspaper, right out of the newspaper, has Trump circle sees him lose grip of his beat, allies rattled by rant and self-sabotage. All right, next to that has Harris leading in 3 key states, new polls show. Boost for Democrats, but she is trailing Trump on the economy and immigration. All right, by the left we have dozens are dead in Israeli strike. Gaza compound Hamas may have shared. And next to that we have eye blink between glory and heartbreak. Beneath that we have the Lahaina sift its layers of history as it rebuilds. All right, next to that, which is the last headline on the newspaper I read. For pregnant women of color, migrate factors conspire to kill. All right, the headline I want to quickly touch on is the one that says, new polls show, both for Democrats, but she is trailing Trump on the economy and immigration. All right, new polls reveal Vice President Kamala Harris is leading Donald Trump by 4 percentage points on Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. This is a significant improvement for Democrats since President Biden left the race. However, Harris is behind Trump on important issues like the economy and immigration. The surveys conducted from August 5th to 9th indicate a stronger position for Democrats in these crucial states compared to Biden's earlier results. All right, so this is what the newspaper is stating is that the Democrats, so there is a bit of, good news from that side, given that the results they have been getting now, at least there's a lot of, followership on the aspect of Harris, and she's kind of getting a whole lot of states, at her back and all of that. Why for Trump, it's just the people that have just been with him from initials, even though he's kind of, above her in the economy and immigration, I think policies and all of that. But she's also pushing forth, compared to what Biden was doing earlier. So that's all I have for the New York Times.
Thank you very much. And now we are going to take a quick break to return with our guest as we will be discussing public sector accountability in Nigeria. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Glad to have you back to the show. As mentioned earlier, we will be discussing public sector accountability in Nigeria. Public sector accountability refers to the obligation of government institutions and officials to be transparent, answerable, and responsible for their actions and decisions. In Nigeria, this concept is crucial as it directly impacts the effectiveness of public administration, the integrity of governmental processes, and the trust citizens place in the leaders. Today, we will unpack the current state of public sector accountability in Nigeria, exploring the systemic issues that hinder transparency and responsible governance. And to join us to have this conversation is a chartered accountant and university teacher with experience in the oil and gas industry, spanning over with three of the top four IOCs, Shell, Chevron, and BP pleasantries. Join me as a welcome to the via Zoom in person of Nick Agule. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers globally.
Thank you very much for joining us. Yes, we are going to be having a conversation around public sector accountability. And in recent times, we have a number of politicians, of government holders who has embezzled either government money one time or the other. Speaking of the likes of Ifeanyi Uba, we have Senator Orjiuzo Kalu, we have Dizani Alice Madueke, we have, in fact, Akpabio, Gosil Akpabio, we have Ayo Fayoshan, we have, is it Kano State Governor that has been in court back and forth. EFCC are yet to pick him, to bring him in for questioning at the moment. Now, I'd like to ask you that when it comes to public sector accountability, how are they being implemented in Nigeria? Then why is nobody doing anything about it? There are terms and conditions. There are rules written for the management and mismanagement of funds. But it looks as if they're not saying anything about it. And one person will just go and embezzle money. EFCC will not arrest them. And even if they arrest them, they'll just go to court 1 or 2 times and then that's all.
And thank you very much for that question. So basically, the difference between a country that is developing and a country that is either experiencing slow growth or is not developing or even retrogressing is in terms of the enforcement of the laws of the land. Like you have rightly said, Nigeria has got a combination of laws and regulations, but people are not complying with it. And the reason people are not complying with it is because they know that they can get away with it if they flout these laws or regulations. I tell people that there's nothing different between Nigeria and a place like the UK from where I'm speaking to you. If here in the UK, people know that they can break the laws and nothing will happen to them, they will break the laws. The only reason why they are not breaking the laws in the numbers that we're experiencing in Nigeria is because they know the consequence. They know that if they break the law, the authorities are going to come after them. So, I mean, if you see a red at a traffic light, the government is sitting there watching you with a camera. And it doesn't matter who you are, if you break that traffic light. In fact, it's not a human being that will issue you a ticket. It's the computer. Computer will just take the number of your vehicle and then issue you an automatic ticket. Perhaps the only thing a human being can do is to take that letter, drop it in the post for you. If we don't do that in Nigeria, there's absolutely no way we're going to get compliance from people, whether they're in the private sector or in the public sector. And so what we're saying here goes right to the leadership of Nigeria at all levels. Whether they are in the executive, they're in the legislature, or they're in the judiciary. People take oaths of office. And in the oath of office, they swear that they are going to stand on the Constitution of Nigeria and they will be loyal to that Constitution. But when they get into office, they don't do that. And the reason they don't do that is because a democracy works well when the four arms of government are involved. I talk about four arms of government in a democracy. A lot of people will recognize the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. But they don't reckon with the people arm of government. So if you look into the Constitution, it provides powers for all the four arms of government. It provides powers, duties, and responsibilities for the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, but also the people. And what you will see different in Nigeria is that the people arm of government is failing to act on the powers that have been granted them in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the powers are many. I mean, for the purpose of not digressing, I can summarize some of them to say the people have the power to recruit the leaders. The people have the power to evaluate the leaders, and if they are found wanting, to remove them from office. You know, the people have those powers. People can say, well, if we try to do it, this and that will happen. Maybe INEC will not do it right and all of that. It's still the people who can fix INEC. Because if you see INEC rigging your elections, you see INEC not obeying their own constitutional rules, it is still the people who have to fix it. And I tell people that, look, even here in the UK or elsewhere, if the people allow the government or their leaders free will to do whatever they want, they'll probably deliver bad governance. The only reason why you will see the likes of Joe Biden or a Macron or a Starmer here in the UK, day and night, delivering good governance, because they are looking at the people and they are saying, if I do otherwise, the people are going to come after me. So the people of Nigeria, we are trying, but we're not doing it in enough numbers. And we're not doing it in the right way. You know, it is not every protest that has to go to the streets so that the government comes on with bullets and guns and begins to shoot people down. We can protest at the ballot boxes. We can protest by recall of legislatures. We can protest by people who have been appointed into government resigning their positions if they notice that things are not happening in the right way. We can protest as individuals. When we are making our points, be it on social media, on TV, or anywhere else, is that view being colored by ethnicity or by religion, or even a party that we have sympathy or we're affiliated to? And these are all the roles that citizens have to bring to bear. Otherwise, I can't see how, on their own volition, our leaders are now going to be accountable to us. First, that we'll be talking about public sector accountability.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nick. You want to say something?
Yes, you know, this lack of accountability from our side, of their side, it really affects the views, the way we perceive them, the way, you know, they go about their things and all. So we're looking at the trust aspect of the public. Like, how far do you think this lack of accountability affects them and its effectiveness in the governance?
If I look at Nigeria, I think there is a huge trust deficit between the public and those who are leading us. That's a fact. Empirical evidence shows that we don't trust our leaders. And there is good reason for why we don't trust our leaders, because precisely for what we're discussing, for lack of public accountability. Let's not forget that every year there are budgetary provisions. Budgets are made at the three tiers of government: federal, state, and local government. And we don't see this budget translate to any physical development. So there is budget for security, as we know. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. There is budget for education. There is budget for health. In the past years, probably in the past 10, 15, 20 years, security has been taking the highest chunk of budget in Nigeria. Yet, the security situation in Nigeria keeps deteriorating. You know, we used to have insecurity in the northeast of Nigeria with Boko Haram and all of that. Today, insecurity has spread all over Nigeria. People don't feel safe again. So the question is, where is the budget for security? That high-end budget that we get for security every time. There's always a budget for roads, a budget for electricity, for water, for education, for healthcare in Nigeria at all these three tiers of government. Where is the money? Because if the money was being used as budgeted, you will begin to see new schools or refurbished schools, new health centers, or refurbished new health centers, new roads. We are not saying you are going to see new roads all over Nigeria in 1 year, but at least you can point to here and there, okay, new roads have come up and these ones are, we are not seeing things like that. So automatically the question is, where is the money? And I think your answer is as good as mine, that we know that the money is being filtered away into private bank accounts of those who are in leadership position or their collaborators. And so the lack of public accountability has reduced the trust between the citizens and those that are leading us. But like I said, it is the citizens who we need to force the hands of the leaders to restore trust.
All right, so that takes me to the question I want to ask here. So I hear you when you say that the people can, you know, make this whole accountability. I mean, make the government, if we, just in case we don't want this certain government, probably because they're not doing their job well, we have the power to, you know, take them out of place. So I'm just wondering, what mechanism, how do we the people, you know, do that? Because if you say protest, it has actually not been working. 2020 spoke about that. This recent one is actually a very wonderful example as well. So I'm just wondering, yeah, what mechanisms can the people do, you know, or what mechanism can we follow to ensure that any government that is not working well should be taken out? Now, you made mention of the UK. And you said something around the fact that the reason why a Biden wants to do well and make sure that the people are okay is because he's looking at the people, and you know he knows that if he doesn't perform his duty as a president, they would probably step him down and all of that. So I'm wondering, what mechanisms do they use there that we here in Nigeria can adopt? Because if you say protest, the back of my head, I don't see how effective that has been.
Thank you very much for that question. And it's actually a very valid question. And this is the kind of conversations that we need to be having so that Nigerians can begin to understand the powers that they have. Because even though the president is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria, the people arm of government is actually more powerful than him, because we can remove him from office. So how are we going to be able to do that? It's actually protest, but there's a difference between street and non-street protest. So street protest is like the end bad governance that just happened.
Yeah.
And for me, in Nigeria, street protest is dangerous because you have a government that doesn't care for human lives.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a government that doesn't care for human lives, they are ready to roll out the guns. Because as you can see, we have been complaining about kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, all sorts of criminal activities that bedevil our communities. The government has not rolled out security to deal with those things. But this same government practically locked down Nigeria with security to prevent us from protesting on the streets. So you can see whose interest those who are leaders are serving. They are serving their own interest because they saw a protest to be something that was directly coming against them. It was injuring their interest. They felt attacked, and for that, they responded with full force with our security architecture. That response is missing when citizens are being attacked by kidnappers, by bandits, and by terrorists, by herdsmen in the farms. As we speak today, the farmers are not in their farms because they have been driven away from their farms. We have never seen the government roll out such force, such security force to attack the herdsmen, to give the farmers free way to go to their farms. So that is street protest. But there are non-street protests that we can also try.
Okay.
Number one, the Constitution provides every Nigerian that is 18 years and above the right to register to vote. The question is, how many people have their voters card? And if those who have voters card go out to vote, how many vote with their conscience? And not because this man is from my village, this man is not from my village, or this man is of my religion, this man is not of my religion. That's number one. That voters card is both a leadership recruitment tool to ensure that you recruit the right leaders. Because in Nigeria, if you are sick and you go to a hospital, you don't ask where that doctor comes from. You just want to get the best doctor. But when we're using our voters card, like now, I'm from Benue State. If I go and stand for election in Oyo State, you know I'm going to lose the election. Yeah. People are not going to look at me to say, do I have what to offer? No. For the mere fact that I'm not from Oyo State, I am gone. So that is one leadership, one way that we are not using well. That same voters card can also be a protest tool. And how do I mean it is a protest tool? If leaders are not performing well, as we see elsewhere, the voters go to the polls and they protest against the leaders and they remove them from office. The UK just removed a sitting government led by Rishi Sunak at the polls with their voters cards. So a voter card is both a leadership recruitment tool and a protest tool. Number two, Constitution, those who framed the Constitution were fully aware that we can make mistakes and elect the wrong people into office. And once they begin to pour hardship upon us instead of good governance, that we can remove them from office. And the Constitution provides the powers to remove the executives at the three tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, in the legislatures at those various levels. However, if you have a legislature like in Nigeria, where we see the Senate and the House of Representatives who act as if they are a department in the presidency, you know, as if they are senior. When you hear the Senate president talking, you would think he's a senior special assistant to the president, you know, and he doesn't realize that he's a head of an arm of government that is independent of the presidency, that he is actually expected to be the check and balance on the federal executive. When you see people like that, acting like that, the Constitution also provides the citizens the power to bring such a legislature home through the recall process. So ultimately, the powers are in the people's hands. Look, people can tell me, oh, they have tried to recall legislator like Dino Melaya and all that, it did not succeed. Look, when you are fighting for the soul of a country, it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. The South Africans fought for more than 50 years. The Americans, the blacks in America fought for more than 100 years to be liberated. If today Nigerians decide that we are going to go on a non-street protest by recalling members of the National Assembly, the 360 members of the Federal House of Representatives and 109 senators, and we put in the recall process, activate it, and it's working, even if at the end of the day, we don't succeed in recalling them, but probably we record one or two of them alone, that will send a message to the legislators that, look, the people are coming after you. And if the first recall process fails, we activate the second recall process, activate the third recall, activate the fourth recall process. The Constitution gives us the powers to do that. You know, so These are some of the ways we can actually be part of this democracy as empowered by the Constitution for which we are not even acting.
Mr. Nick, I understand your point. I'd love to ask a question, but we have to go on a quick break. But can all of this work in Nigeria? Because you mentioned something the other time that we are in a lawless country where things that people do not just go scot-free for in the United Kingdom, here in Nigeria, they go scot-free. I mean, more than scot-free. Take a good look at Yaya Bello. Up till today, he has not been called in for questioning. The president of, the governor of Kano State, rather, Umar Ganduje, till today, nothing has been said about it, among many other people that has embezzled public funds one time or the other. But please, let's take this quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how these many corruptions, I think I should put more than one S to the corruption, has been impacting and affecting Nigerians' development and economic growth. We'll be right back shortly.
It's summer and time to hear what the teenagers are saying. Ways Teens Takeover 2024 promises to be an amazing week as our teenagers take over the show to discuss all national and social concerns as it affects them. Join your faves from last season: Alpha, Yasmin, Adora, Salma, Morolake, Ezinne, Ite, and watch out for the new additions to the team: Barisudo, Letam, Oluwa Jerry Arare, and Oluwa Tominini. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us across all our social media platforms, and most importantly, tell every teenager you know to be a part of a special summer edition. Starting from the 12th of August through to the 16th of August 2024, these amazing teenagers will be on your TV screens. Ways Teens Takeover, where the voices of our teenagers count.
Glad to have you back. It's no more news that today, 12th, the long-awaited day, is when our Teens Takeover will be commencing. I mean, join us today by 8 p.m. via our different platforms, RTTV, Plus TV, and also on YouTube at Official Upgrade TV. Please share the link to family and friends. Invite all the teenagers you know around you to watch this program and also be a part of the conversation. Welcome back to Ways Breakfast. We are still having a conversation around public sector accountability with Mr. Nick Agule. Now, before we went on that short break, I said you mentioned Nigeria being a lawless country, and honestly, I agree with you on that because all our governors, past leaders that has embezzled money one time or the other has never been brought to book. Now, I'm curious to ask and to know how this entire corruption process is, because the current Senate president has plans to embezzle money. That's if he's not already embezzling money. Even the local government chairman has plans to embezzle federal government money. In their words, it's called national cake. So how is or should I say is or are, all this corruption thing affecting Nigeria's development and economic growth?
Thank you very much for that question. So there's something I'm going to say, which will be a prelude to answering your question.
Okay.
Today, as we wake up today, being Monday, the 12th of August, if you go to any market in Lagos or anywhere in Nigeria, and somebody comes to steal a piece of fish or steals anything, and they say, ole, 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 thief, 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 the result is most likely going to be
Jungle justice.
the people's anger against this person, the beating of this person to a pulp, and most probably putting a tire around this person's neck and setting them on fire. That is the extent to which Nigerians abhor corruption, abhor the stealing of anything. The question, therefore, is why are Nigerians not carrying on with the same anger against those who are stealing public money, those who are not accountable, who are stealing money at the federal government, at the state and local government? Why are Nigerians not showing the same anger as they will show to that thief in the market square against these people? And the answer to my mind is because the thief who stole a piece of fish in the market, the people think that that fish belongs to the owner of the fish. And the thief was trying to deprive them of their property, and therefore the thief deserves to die. But when it comes to public sector, Nigerians don't look at the money in the public sector as their money. They see it as government money. And to them, government is different from them. So if they are stealing government money, it doesn't really bother them. Perhaps they are looking for a way where they can also get a piece of the money that they are stealing. And that is why you will see them doubling for those who are stealing this money, even fighting each other. If you go on X or these platforms, you see Nigerians fighting each other over the people who are stealing this money. Like you mentioned Ganduje, mentioned Akpabio, mentioned Yaya Bello. Go on X or any of the platforms. There are people who are fighting on their behalf, fighting those who even mention anything against these people. Well, in the way to say, why are you touching our idols? Why are you touching our saints? You can't do this. All because they don't believe that the monies that these people looted was their money. It's government money, it's general money. But that has to not change. That mindset has to change. In the countries where I am saying the people are locked in battle with their leaders, they think, of course, it's not what they think, because that is what it is, that the monies that are in the public sector belong to them. So the monies that are in the coffers of the federal, state, and local governments in Nigeria belong to the people of Nigeria. It is our own personal money. And we only appointed these leaders like managers to come and manage these monies for us. And until Nigerians change their mindset from thinking that government money is nobody's money to thinking that government money is their real personal money, just like the money they have in their pocket in that market, where if a person steals it, the person will deserve to die. When we have that mindset, then we will become intolerant of the leaders who are stealing the money. We will now begin to come after them if they steal the money. How that mindset is going to change, for me, is a $1 million question. How are we going to change it? But of course, the media have a big role to play. Civil society has a big role to play to try and turn Nigerians' mentality around, to say that, look, if a man is a governor or president or local government chairman, or is a minister, commissioner, or councillor at local government, and you knew he was a poor man, he had nothing, and immediately he got into office, you started seeing him display stupendous wealth, that money is your money that he had just stolen, taking care of his family while you are in poverty. You need to say no to that. Until we get to that point, we are not going to get to the level of the UK, for instance, who are intolerant of leaders stealing their money, the US, France, Germany, or elsewhere that we're talking. So that's a fundamental thing that has to change in our psyche.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I just have to take you back a little bit. You are leaning towards the people who are the ones that can keep the governments accountable for whatever they are doing. I mean, we are going out in protest. You said, okay, protest and that way and that measure, right? We're going out. All the protests we have been doing since, unfortunately, seems not to be working. I mean, I haven't seen any successful accountability measures going on. Or have you seen, or are you aware of anyone that maybe we don't know? And if so, please tell us, because I'm not sure any way we go about it is working.
So I spoke about street and non-street protest. So NSAS, bad governance, these are street protests. I would also like to see where Nigerians have embarked on non-street protest. How many legislators now have been attempted to be recalled in this 10th National Assembly that we have now? There are 360 of them, 109 senators. We know that they are not doing their work. How many have we attempted to recall? So if Nigerians are not engaging in non-street protest, which to me is even the more effective protest, how are we going to get results? If we don't put it, as I speak today, there are Nigerians that don't know who is representing them at the National Assembly, at the State Assembly, and at the local government assembly. There are Nigerians who don't know who their representatives are. In the last election, only about 30% of Nigerians came out to recruit their leaders. Did they come out in their number? Did we have like 80%, 90% voter turnout to protest against the APC government that was in power under the Buhari years to say, your policies are so bad, we don't want you, let us bring in someone, just like the UK citizens did recently, by removing the conservative government and installing a brand new Labour government. Did we do that? So this is what I'm saying, that if as Nigerians who are not even ready to participate in the democracy, how do we enjoy the dividends? Because elsewhere, the protests are working. As I speak to you today as I'm speaking to you, you will see thousands or even hundreds of thousands of UK residents writing letters to their MPs, making phone calls to their MPs, sending them all sorts of messages, you know. And in Nigeria, I already said it, that we have allowed ourselves to be boxed into ethnicity and religion and party divides by these same politicians. So if you go on X now and you see a man whose name is obviously from a particular region supporting a leader who is obviously from that region, that man's head has been turned upside down. So until we turn around and now say, no, this thing is not a problem between North and South, Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa. It's a matter between public officers who are chopping our money and pinning our development down, and us who are the victims. Because as I speak to today, if you go to Abuja, you can go to a ministry where the minister is from the Southwest and the permanent secretary is from the Northeast. Or the minister is from South-South, permanent secretary is from North Central. They are not quarreling, no. They are busy writing checks to take our money into their private coffers. They are not fighting. But you, the citizen, we are fighting each other because once I see this man's name is from South-South, he's talking against a leader that is from the Southwest. And I'm from the Southwest. I want to attack him. Yes.
Yeah, I was saying, like, the example of Gbadebo Road Survival. His mother is Igbo, his father is Yoruba. He can't compete in Lagos State. That's so sad.
This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. So if Nigerians are not rising above those primordial ethnic and religious sentiments, how can we get a government running? Because the point I'm making here, you know, you ask the question, how can this be done? And my answer is that no democracy works without the people. No democracy. Truly no democracy. If Nigerians are hoping that they can enjoy dividends of democracy when they are absent from the table, it's not going to happen. And that is why programs like this are very good, because we are touching on the fundamental issues here. You know, it's not going to take one day, it's not going to take one program like today, or 1 week or 1 month of preaching this. It's going to take a sustained amount of time to preach this to Nigerians, to come to the realization that the problem of Nigeria is not north, south, east, west, or Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, or Tiv, or Islam, or Christianity. The problem of Nigeria is that we have leaders. Actually, you know that Aisha Buhari, the wife to our former president, after she observed these people at close quarters in the villa, observed them carefully, she came out and described them as hyenas and jackals. It's not my words, they are her words. So if we watch these hyenas and jackals loot our country dry, take our country from the high levels we were to the lowest levels, and we fail to do anything about it, it's not going to happen for us because I have never seen it happen anywhere where dividends of democracy are enjoyed by citizens without the citizens putting in the efforts.
Yeah.
So these are the fundamental questions we have to start dealing with. These are the kind of things we have to start talking to turn around the psyche of Nigeria to say, hey, we were thinking this thing is between Yoruba and Igbo and Fulani. No. This problem is that this guy, regardless of where they come from, when they go to Abuja or to the state government houses or local government headquarters, they are actually against us, the victims. And as I speak today, we are all victims. If there is no petrol and you have to queue for petrol, it doesn't matter where you come from in Nigeria. It doesn't matter the religion that you are worshiping. You will queue up at that petrol and you are going to buy it at high price. I don't think there's any petrol station in Nigeria that is only for people from Southwest. So if you are from Southwest and you think that, oh, it is a Milocron, I have to defend my man from Southwest because, you know, the Northerners were defending their man, Buhari and all of that. You enter the market, there will be no different price for you.
Yeah.
That's Southwesterner in the market. You know, if you want to buy dollar, you are going to buy it at 1,600 or thereabout. Nobody is going to sell dollar to you at 600 naira just because you are from the Southwest. So if you are busy defending the people who are in power, you are going to see the suffering once you get home. That is what, those are the kind of conversations we need to have. And civil society, the media, past leaders, and all of, the other thing I'm talking about is also those who have been appointed into positions. You know, elsewhere, you see people resign their office in protest. You know, I'm not happy with what is happening. I don't want to do what they want me to do. I'm leaving. Have we ever seen anybody just tender their resignation in Nigeria and walk away? Signs no. And they are part of the people. If you've been appointed into position, by tendering your resignation and walking away, do you know that it will send a very powerful message to those who are leading? And you know, like to me, social media is the new street. If we want to do street protest, you can go to social media as a new street. Remember that at the beginning of this year, there was a harmless hashtag on X. We no agree for anybody.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
That hashtag got into the leaders. It got right into the center of their hearts. And they sent the police to come and write a statement to say, we no agree for anybody hashtag. It's illegal. Don't do it. This or that. They hate the message. Just like you go to the street, you want them to hear your message. That street, X, social media, a message was passed there and they heard it. So why are we not using streets like that? Because if you go on the main street, on the physical street, you probably are going to be killed and nobody is going to do anything about it.
Speaking of the street of social media, our time is almost out. I like to make mention of this ongoing. I don't know if you see the report from David Hudeni about he saying a foreign NGO reached out to him to write something bad about the Dangote refinery. I don't know if you saw that news. I watched the entire full clip. He said he was offered 800,000 euro, maybe $800,000 to write something bad about Dangote refinery to paint it as an environmental hazard. Now, I saw the news right now that the National Assembly has inaugurated an oil theft committee to fish out everybody doing oil theft in Nigeria. And the caption on that says, my siblings looking for the remote after they hide the remote. What do you have to say about this? And then your final thought as we prepare to wrap up.
With all due respect to David Hudeni, I saw his write-up and I said, for what purpose? I'm an energy expert. I spent almost the entirety of my career in the energy industry. As I speak today, the refining capacity globally is about 100 million barrels of crude oil per day. That is, the refineries around the world are refining 100 million barrels of crude oil today. And when a refinery of 650,000 barrels comes up in Nigeria, of what significance is that? It means nothing. So I see write-ups that say, oh, the coming on stream of Dangote refinery is going to disrupt the oil markets globally. Globally, how? These guys are producing and refining 100 million barrels, and this refinery is just 650,000. I don't think anybody's going to waste their time with that. Dangote refinery has come to stay. It has been built, it's running. Let it continue to do their work. I don't want to say David Hudeyin was looking for social media clicks, but nobody is going to have anxiety over a 650,000 barrel refinery when the world is refining 100 million barrels. So whether Dangote refinery is there or it's not there, it doesn't bother the oil industry, the global oil industry. The US alone, as we speak today, their refining capacity is 18 million barrels of crude oil per day, 18 million. Why would they have anxiety that a refinery of 650,000 barrels has started operation somewhere in West Africa and Nigeria? You know, so I think people need to be educated about these things. By David Hudeyin writing that Dangote refinery is an environmental hazard. Who takes that kind of report serious? Is he an expert? Has he gone to study the environmental impact of Dangote refinery? He's just a social media activist, and I don't want to burst his bubble, but I think the whole thing is just being blown out of proportion.
Your final thought, as we prepare to wrap up, speaking about public sector accountability. You already spoke about what we Nigerians can do. I just need your final thought about it. What do we need to do better? Because you've given us examples of street interview, no street interviews, we can remove our leaders in office and all of that. But your final thought as we wrap up on today's program.
Yeah, so my final thoughts are that, in summary, a democracy works better if the four arms of government are coming to the table. And in Nigeria, we have allowed the three arms of government, the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, to come to the table, and the people arm of government are not coming to the table, because even in the room where you are there, in the studios, if I say that, are you going to stand for office as a politician? I can imagine the answer I will get, that no, I don't want to have anything to do with politics. And that is the typical Nigerian. We don't want to go to the table. And if we don't do that, how are we going to enjoy the dividends of democracy? So what I'm saying is that we have tried a street protest with disastrous results. Can we begin to look at non-street protest against our leaders, so that at the end, they will feel our impact, they will know that we're there, they can see our mind and say that we're not happy with what is happening, and then we can force their hands to deliver good governance to us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nick Agule, for your time and for educating us on the fourth tier of government. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, ladies, for coming this morning. Let's do it again tomorrow. And that's it on today's episode. Do join us again tomorrow. Till then, do enjoy the rest of your day. Do not forget to join our Teens Takeover later tonight by 8 p.m. and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. See you tomorrow. Stay sharp and bye for now.